Good morning, everyone. This is Pastor Frank at Shield of Faith in Pflugerville. It's good to be with you this morning. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. And hopefully we'll have some fun here this morning. Brother Gary's already online. It's good to see you this morning, Brother Gary. Did you have a good Thanksgiving? Hopefully this morning we're going to look at love in action. So if you'll find your scripture portion, it's found in John, the Gospel of John, chapter 13, verses. I'm just going to read a few. So I'm going to start with 33. So it says, "Dear children, I will be with you only a little longer. And as I told the Jewish leaders, you will search for me, but you can't come where I'm going. So now I'm giving you a new commandment. Love each other just as I've loved you. You should love each other. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you're my disciples." You know, I've talked a lot about love over the last few weeks and months, but we're going to be talking about it again. So I think one of the things that we need to realize about love is that, it's not something that we can't all do. It's something that Christ, if we're Christians, Christ expects us all to love one another. Now, at the time Jesus spoke this, they were in the upper room, and this is where Jesus instituted the Lord's Supper. And just for those that maybe didn't know this, the Lord's Supper was instituted by the Lord in this upper room at this time. It wasn't the Passover. It was about the time of the Passover, but this is the Lord's Supper. It's a special time that Jesus had with his disciples. And they were together in the upper room, and Jesus is facing the cross. He knows it. He knows it's coming. His disciples really still don't understand. It's kind of like a lot of us today. A lot of times, if we'll remember when we were children, our parents would be concerned about something. We couldn't see. We knew they were concerned, but we couldn't understand exactly what it was all about. Even if they told us what it was, we didn't know what it was. So this is kind of these guys. They're with Jesus. They've been taught by Jesus for 3 years. They're doing everything they possibly can to understand, but they still aren't really understanding what is going on here. So and the truth is, I think one of Jesus' greatest concern was that he was going to have to leave the gospel message with these men, and they weren't ready yet. They had been with him. They were dense. They were weak. They were jealous of one another. They were hungry for power. Judas was struggling with Satan. The disciples did not still understand about the Messiah or his mission. And they had to learn quickly and adequately. So the first lesson they needed to learn was the meaning of love. Jesus' love and their love. So Jesus explained the relationship to them between love and service. So in the upper room during the Passion meal, Jesus demonstrated his love. He demonstrated his love by washing their feet. So as a servant, he washed their feet. Now, Peter is always one that's going to come off with something in this, and he told Peter said, "Well, you don't need to wash my feet." And Peter, Jesus said, "If I don't wash your feet, you're none of mine." So the thing about this is, I think there's a lot going on here that really we should talk about, but this is another one of those kind of things where there's about an hour-long message here that I'm going to try to do in 10 or 15 minutes. But really here, Jesus was only just demonstrating washing their feet. If you remember, the Jewish custom was that when they came into the room, their feet were washed. So I'm pretty sure these men's feet had already been washed. Jesus washing their feet was something totally, you have to understand, this is totally a foreign thing to them. For the master to wash the feet of the disciples was unheard of. And so when he did that, he was demonstrating that to them, but he was also demonstrating to them that I'm trusting you to carry on this message that I'm giving you and take it to the rest of the world. I'm trusting you to take this message to the world. So uh, what Jesus said was that a servant shouldn't expect better treatment in his Lord. There's only one kind of greatness, and it's the greatness of service. True humility and our love is shown by our willingness to do whatever is necessary to advance Christ's kingdom, even if it involves humiliating service. Now, I don't know that washing someone's feet is humiliating service, but serving in times and places where you may not be appreciated is definitely something that Jesus would expect us to do. And I could talk about that on another level, but the fact is that those of you that will understand what I say, I appreciate that. But the fact is, the church has begun to expect that the world should appreciate them. The church has begun to expect a certain level of status in the community, a certain level, and I'm saying this about pastors. Pastors have begun to expect a certain level of recognition, a certain level of accolades, a certain level of this, and I'm telling you that this is really a dangerous kind of thing, because the church needs to be known for its service, not for its willingness to accept accolades. We should not be doing what we do because we can get some kind of prize or get some kind of recognition or get our faces in a newspaper or on the news. We should be doing what we do because it comes from our heart. Jesus had the men that were closest to him in the upper room with him at that time. And this was a very personal, very intimate time that Jesus had with his disciples, and he needed them to respond without all of the other mess that's going on. He didn't want them to thank him for washing their feet. He didn't want them to do like Peter did and refuse to have his feet washed. He didn't want all of that noise. He wanted them to understand what was happening. And what he was doing was demonstrating his love for them by washing their feet, helping them get prepared for the work that they needed to do. And I want you to understand that being a servant as a Christian is a very trusted position. And I'll tell you this. Of course, now you know the story. We have Judas here, who has been struggling with Satan. Satan has been attacking Judas and very, you know, Judas was a thief, and he had left himself open for the attack of Satan. And I think Judas was one of the most miserable people in this little group because he was torn between what he knew was true and what he was trying to do. And so, uh, in at this upper room deal, Jesus revealed the disciple that was going to betray him. He gave Judas the sop, and that mean Jesus was sitting at the position of his best friend. And uh, and to do that, to give it to someone, was a mark of goodwill. Jesus didn't harbor any ill will against Judas. He had always been trying to draw Judas from that part. But the fact is that uh, that night the devil won his battle with Judas. And I want you to understand that we all have that battle. Some of us, that battle may seem far away from us right now, and some it may be like an ongoing everyday struggle. But we all have the battle to fight. Don't be fooled. So, uh, so then Jesus talked to them and told them that actually he's going to the cross because he loved them. And then after that he left, he wanted them to carry on his work. Now, Jesus commanded his disciples to love one another. Now, and this is something that we need to really get a hold of, because the word that he used there uh, is agape love. And I know you've probably heard this conversation a lot of times, the difference between the different kinds of love. Agape love is love where you've committed yourself 100%. Agape love is a kind of love. The Greek word agape is a kind of love that is 100% committed. That's the kind of love that we should have for Jesus, and that's the kind of love we should have for one another. We need to demonstrate that love by our actions. We can say we love, but it's what we do that tells us we love. And I want you to understand, it's also what tells the world whether we love or not. And some people do it without even thinking. Others, it's sometimes a struggle for them to do anything that. And then one of the things that's coming up, even in these convoluted times, is time itself. People just seem like they don't have enough time to do anything. You meet yourself coming back, and I'm literally telling you that by the time you get to the end of the day, if you're not careful, you haven't done anything but just turn around in circles trying to figure out what to get done. So the devil likes those days, but we need to be a people with a focus, and that focus is on Jesus Christ and spreading his love. We're in the season now, Thanksgiving and the Christmas season coming up. We need to, we just need to be more aware of the need for love, not just for a few people, but for the people of this world. And always remember, Jesus came to save the world, not just a few people. He came for us all, even for those people that get on your nerves. So remember that when they get on your nerves, Jesus came and loves them too. You should be too. Uh, Sometimes we think love is meant to give us happiness. In the long run, that's true. But it may bring pain or demand a cross. Jesus knew his disciples loved him, and he knew that the message that he left with them was going to cause them to suffer great things. Jesus knew that in giving his disciples the message of love the message of service, the message of Jesus Christ and salvation through Christ was going to cause each one of them to suffer. He knew that before he ever left, but he still had to do it, not for their sake so much, but because he loved you and he loved me and he loved everybody else out there. And so these men had to carry that message, and not only carry that message, they had to inspire others to carry it to where love spreads around the world. And I want you to understand, I believe love spreads faster than hate. So the things that are trying to spread, the devil has been doing his level best to spread hate throughout this country, not only around the world. And it makes me almost upset enough to smack him in the mouth. He's been trying to spread hate through this country, but I'm telling you this morning, agape love spreads faster than hate, and we need to spread love, not hate. We need to show we're disciples of Jesus Christ because people can see the love in us. I'm going to preach if I don't watch out. I'm getting caught up in this a little bit. But the fact is, I want you to understand that love doesn't sit still. Love is what we do in action. Love doesn't sit and wait. Love is in action. Love spreads faster than hate. Get it out there. Keep it out there. Bounce it off the hardest places, because love will spread harder than hate. And I want to see this world overtaken by love again before Jesus comes. So this morning, much love to you all. I pray again that you had a great Thanksgiving, that you'll have a great Christmas season. I'm just saying this: love people, help people when you can, give people an opportunity to love you back, and you'll be surprised what happens. I'm encouraged at what God is doing. That's a good one there, Brother Gary. Spread love, not hate. Don't do that. We can make a sign and carry that back in the 60s. Everybody went crazy. But the fact is that we just need to continue to let the world know who Jesus is. God bless you all. I look forward to seeing you again in the morning at 6:30. I'm looking forward to see what God has for us. And let somebody know that you're watching, and let's see if we can spread some more love. God bless you all.